With over 650% growth in the past couple of months and my brand new Paris investment, today we're breaking down everything stickers. Now the first area is Antwerp, and I want to start with Antwerp because I think it's a great baseline for the rest of the video. Antwerp is currently in a pretty decent position when we want to look at everything about it. If we want to look at the ROI, it's sitting roughly where we would expect it to be. The hollows are at a good consistent price, and we've seen some consistent growth over these hollows over the past couple of weeks. I mean, 10 to 15% is a great position for a lot of these to be in, and we're seeing very similar growth for the capsules long term as well. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top of the line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top of the line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now the whole premise for today's video is should you be buying these, or at least looking into them, and I think for Antwerp the answer is definitely yes. This is an area you should really look into when we're talking about the big three borderless. We got Stockholm, Antwerp, and Paris. Antwerp is that perfect middle child. Although it's not extremely expensive, it definitely still offers a lot of that potential when we're talking in the longer term, and although it isn't the most safe, which I would say Stockholm definitely is, for Antwerp here we're looking at almost an eighth of the price of Stockholm, which is a really hard sell for Stockholm. Now we just mentioned a group of stickers that is up 600% in the past 6 months, and these are the Dreamhack hollows. Now the reason this is so interesting is because the Dreamhack hollows have virtually come out of nowhere. If we want to look at the Dreamhack hollows, they went from roughly $100 to some of them almost $1,000 at this point. Now the reason we have seen such very significant increases inside of this area has to do with one specific thing, and that's the fact that someone's just buying up a lot of these and trying to pump up the price. There's not really too much going on with this specific area other than the fact that someone's trying to artificially increase it, and we can see by exactly what happened when CS2 was released. We saw these stickers go up very slightly, but they did see an increase. Obviously some people noticed them inside of CS2 and wanted to take advantage, whereas if we can look at them now, we can see they're still virtually the same as they were on release day, and yet they're 6 times the price. It doesn't make sense. Someone's trying to artificially do this, and obviously that comes along with saying, but you don't need to buy into these. Just because one thing went up does not mean one, it's going to increase anymore, but two, it doesn't mean it's a good investment. I mean, we can look at a lot of these stickers and see they do come back down very harshly. Now I don't think the Dreamhack 2014 hollows are necessarily going to be like that, just because they are, like we mentioned, from 2014. These are really old stickers, and that's why someone specifically chose these stickers. They weren't super expensive beforehand, and they didn't have a massive supply, so people were trying to take advantage of that. Now the next one is Stockholm. Now Stockholm is one that I think definitely still holds a place in your portfolio. If we want to talk about the big three borderless, Stockholm is the one that in my opinion is the safest moving forward, but it's also the most expensive, and we can obviously see that when we look at some of the capsules, and they're sitting at $6, $7. I mean, that's a very expensive price for a capsule that was just released 2 years ago. Now when we're looking at these Stockholm hollows, we still see some pretty massive growth, especially the Tai Lu hollow, where there aren't alternatives. We can see a 50% increase in the past month is nothing to be ashamed about, and even some like the Furia are still getting some pretty massive returns. However, it's unfortunately almost the time for Stockholm investments to come to an end, and what I mean by that is they're transitioning from being a very profitable investment to now being a little bit more on the safer side. We can look at them, $6, $7 for a capsule is extremely expensive, and I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to be massively impacting this in the near future that doesn't impact the entire market. When we're talking about borderless stickers, Stockholm is it, but the truth is when we're talking about investments that are up and coming, Stockholm is not it. The interest has started to fade away from this area a little bit, to the point where if it was up to me personally, I don't know if I would be sticking my specific dollars into Stockholm unless I had a very large portfolio. There's a lot of other opportunities inside of the CSGO sticker market that I think are definitely areas that you should go for if you're in a little bit more of a position where you want to make a little bit more money. If you're looking to get some pretty safe returns, Stockholm is definitely an option, but in my opinion, when we're looking for a little bit more of an aggressive return, I don't think Stockholm is going to offer that unless you're specifically looking at the Legends capsule, which is a whole question of its own. Now talking about the big one here, which is obviously Paris, I just made a brand new investment, which we'll tell you about later, but it's partially due to these hollows right here. If we want to look at a lot of the hollows, they're still increasing, and they're still increasing quite significantly. We talked about in a previous video how these hollows are consistently going up, which is absolutely crazy inside of the sale, to the fact that we've got 2 over 100% ROI and 2 over $5 average for the hollows, which is just absolutely insane at the current moment. Now one major problem I'm seeing for a lot of people in Paris is they're investing into it because they believe it is a 100% safe investment, when it could not be further from the truth. Major investments at this point are not a safe investment just because so many people are investing into them. We saw it with RL RMR, and we saw it with Antwerp for a while. People forget that Antwerp was down potentially 20-25% at a certain point. The capsules themselves were under 20 cents a piece, and that's just because so many people were buying into them. And although it is a profitable investment now, that is nowhere guaranteed for any capsule, including Paris. Although I definitely still think that it's going to have a very strong trajectory in the future. Obviously, I hold a decent amount of Paris capsules, so I obviously think they're going to go up in price for the future, but that does not mean they're a safe investment. When we're talking about safe investments, we're talking about rare cases, at least in my opinion, and that's because of the specific features about them. When we look at unboxing numbers and we look at the fact that they make up 1% of the drop pool and there's 30 some cases inside of it, we can see that there's obviously not a ton of them dropping. And when we look at major capsules like Paris specifically right now, there is an unlimited supply. You can go buy as many as you want from Valve for 25 cents, and that therefore creates an absolutely massive supply that we don't know how many are out there. Now, if you're wondering what my investments were heading in today, you can check out this video right here, but these were basically the percentage breakdowns, which I think it is crucial you understand why I did specifically this route. Now, if you're looking at my investments and noticing that there was one sticker capsule that was a little bit low, it was the Legends capsule, and that's exactly what I'm picking up more of today. It's not specifically because I had the lowest of it beforehand, but it's specifically because of what has happened inside of the Legends capsule. In a previous video, I mentioned that every single holo inside of the Legends capsule was going up, which is an absolutely immaculate trend when we're looking for trends that we want to invest into. The fact that it's picking up steam and momentum this late into the sale shows me that the interest is still in this area, and that's exactly what I want to look for when I'm looking for investments I think have the absolute potential to pop off, like we saw with Stockholm. When we look at the Stockholm capsules, they absolutely popped off when they were removed from the store, and that's what I wanted to see with some of these Paris capsules. And although I definitely saw a lot of potential with the fact that there was over 100% ROI for a lot of these capsules, the fact that the Legends is picking up steam now shows me that there is still interest in this area, and the possibilities are very large within this capsule, and I didn't have a ton of them. We can look at the percentages I had beforehand, and these are the percentages now, and you can see there's a pretty major difference in the fact that I picked up a decent amount more of the Legends capsule, only about 200 more. Now, what specifically should you invest into is a little bit of a mixed bag. In my opinion, I really like Paris investments just because of the risk diversification. I've got a lot of safer investments, and the truth is when we're looking at Paris, it's the most risky thing out there when we're talking about sticker capsules. It's unproven, it's untested, and the truth is we don't know exactly where it's going to land. But it's also got the most potential in my opinion. That's because we just mentioned we don't know where it's going to land. The truth is it could become a very profitable investment rather quickly, and when we're looking at a price point of 25 cents, it offers the ease and accessibility for everyone to get in, maybe at 30 or 50 cents, which when we're looking at Stockholm and Antwerp, both of those don't really offer at this point. It's got the strongest competitive advantage inside of the borderless stickers when we're talking about ease and accessibility at this point, and that's one of the things I specifically look for, but I definitely think you should look into other areas as well if you're looking for a little bit more of a safer investment. That's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day.